Good morning, grandkids. I'm making this late at night on Thursday night. Really getting a late start on this. But this is chapter 52 of my story about Dorkly the Young Wizard. Chapter 52. I can't believe I've made 52 videos of this already. But we're getting close to the end now. Dorkly and his two sidekicks, Grizz and Shuffle, arrive at the court and High Court and let the guards know that he needs to see King Brigham and that it's urgent. They are led into the courtroom and wait as a guard hurries off to let the king know. While they are waiting, the three are speaking in low voices as they look around at the grandeur of this court. Would you look at that ceiling? Grizz says. I didn't put my mic down. I hope you heard me. Would you look at that ceiling? Grizz says as they all crane their necks upward. It's black with deep gold scroll work around it, all of it. And look, there's cherubs painted with rosy cheeks and flaxen hair in every corner of the ceiling. Wow, the walls are a nice light cream color. Shuffle says, and they look... Excuse me. And as they look toward the throne, Shuffle says, our king only has 2 steps up to his throne, and here there's 5. This king really likes to assert his authority, doesn't he? They all nudge each other to be quiet as Dorkly sees an elderly, slightly stooped, gray-headed man approach from the side doors. Wow, is that the king? Conley's father? Dorkly whispered. King Brigham walks in and steps before them at the bottom of the steps up to his throne, and speaks to them with a loud voice and a deep frown. Well, I know that you came here from my son in Blue Haven to see if you could find out more about what's going on. Have you found anything more about my sons here? Dorkly tells him what they have learned. So the truth, he said, that we finally uncovered is against your son Quentin. I'm sorry, sire. We talked with the very assassin that Quentin had hired to eliminate you. It was Quentin who sent Gertrude to do all that she could to your son Conley and to get him killed. Quentin planned to have himself and his daughter ruling the 2 kingdoms. He saw the reddening of the king's face and saw his pain, but he also saw his anger climbing. King Brigham was pacing back and forth. Finally, he stopped. With a furious voice, he hollered for a guard. Bring me my 2 sons, here, now. He turned to Dorkly and said, Thank you for your assistance. You may return to your house in your home now. He turned and hurried up the steps and sat down on his throne to wait. Dorkly and his acolytes hurried to their room down on the docks and grabbed their stuff and started looking for a ship back to Blue Haven. Brigham's guards ushered in Quentin and Marshall, their hands tied behind their backs, and they stand behind them at the foot of the throne steps. Well, this is a sad day for me, but I'm also in a rage, so don't expect for this to take very long. Quentin started to open his mouth, but the king said, Don't say a word. He glanced at the guard and said, untie Marshall's restraints. A guard cut his restraints, and Marshall rubbed his wrists and moved a little to the side. The king told the guard to return Quentin to a prison cell for the time being. He then turned to Marshall. "I'm sorry, son. I had to restrain both of you until I knew the truth of what was going on. I want you to go on and get something to eat and rest. I will want you here with me later." They both left the courtroom together, talking. Back on the island of Blue Gable, Dermis and his friend Alan decide to take the little one-sail sloop which Dermis had and sail across to the coast of the mainland to a little town of Silverstone. This was down the coast a ways from the main road, which went up from the docks to the city of High Rock, which surrounded King Brigham's palace. The harbor here was deep and full of many ships and boats with lots of dockside businesses. There were 2 taverns here with rooms for rent upstairs. One was the Flaming Post, so named because sometime in the past it had burned down and had to be rebuilt. The owner then gave it its new name. The other one was the Yardarm, which got its name from all the ships anchored there in the harbor. This is the one that Dermis enjoyed going to because he liked its older atmosphere. Dermis and Alan walked in there and went to a table near the back and sat down, settled in, and ordered some drinks. Dermis said, "I've had a couple of notes from my father letting me know that the threat on his life is over, thank goodness. He has this Gertrude, who is a daughter of one of his brothers, in custody. That sounds like a scary situation to me. I don't know much at all about my father's family, but they sound like a sorry bunch to me." "Well, I'm not happy with your own family," Alan said. "Your dad banished you to a life on your own. A good thing you can write and will be able to earn money." No, it's not like that," Dermis said. "My dad was actually very lenient with me. I had committed 2 murders, but because I was his son, he couldn't just do what he should have done to me. But to satisfy the populace, he had to do something. So he banished me here, and I'm not to return. He sent me here in a ship that would take me anywhere that I wanted to go. He also gave me my inheritance, so I don't have to work at all. I write because that's my passion. I chose this little island when I saw it because it would be close to my father and close to the mainland. There's nothing to stop me from going up to the city and see my relatives, but by now I have no desire to do so." He took a big swig of his drink and looked around the room. "What I need to do is find me a woman," and he grinned at Alan. "Well," Alan said, "I never quite realized all of that. So I understand and realize that you should be grateful." He grinned then and said, "As far as a woman, I agree with you. I'll help you look." Later on, King Conley has guards go out and announce to the citizens to be in the courtroom in the afternoon for a few announcements. When they start arriving and gathering before the throne, the king, with Inez, enters the courtroom. The king hears their murmurings about the throne with a small throne beside it, and he smiles as he and Inez sit down. Well, Conley whispers to Inez, we have surprised them. He looked up and spoke to the people. As you can see, my lovely Inez is now sitting beside me in her place of honor. If anything were to happen to me, which that trouble seems to be under control now, Lady Inez would become queen, and you would be in good hands. He turned and smiled lovingly at her. As maybe some of you know, we were married quickly and quietly during all those troubled times. I wanted her in position in case they should have succeeded in my demise. He stopped a moment to think about Dorkly. I have also suggested to Dorkly that as soon as he returns from the mainland, that he should get married quickly and quietly also, so that we can get on with a huge party, including all the people from all over the country. So we will get into that later on. My son, Dupree, will also be back home soon from some training on the mainland, also at my friend Major Farthington. Those three have been very busy helping my father, the king, there clean things up, which has been very painful for him. But enough of that for now. Now I want to let you know of some new plans that I am making for our country. Because of my disinterest after my first wife's passing, this country hasn't grown much. Due to my new lease on life, and he smiled at Inez, I want to do all that I can to help us grow and prosper. And they all clapped and whistled. I'm going to start with building a city, not a town like the few handfuls that we have, but a city. It will be on the north coast, a little to the east. I would like any man with construction knowledge who wants to be involved with this to leave a letter with Major Bonester at his office. I and Inez, with a few men, will be going to inspect the area and choose a perfect site. I will hire a man to be in charge of laying out the city. Also, I want to encourage and help men and women to start new businesses or build up the businesses that they have in our small towns. I want them to grow. Everyone was clapping hands. The king looked around and saw several servants standing around the walls and addressed them. Please, find and pass out drinks to all of us. He looked back at the people and said, let's have a little good time right now, looking forward to an expanding and happy future. That night in bed, Connolly asked Inez about going with him. Would you enjoy accompanying me up there to check out a spot for a city? Yes, she said. I think that would be fun and exciting. I think I'm going to take William. When I talked to him, he was quite excited. King laughed. He said he'd gladly be indentured to me for life in order to be involved with that. Everyone should be back from the mainland by tomorrow. We can take a carriage up there then around the coast road, look it over, and be back before too late tomorrow night. I'll have Dorkly and Major Bonester with a couple of his men hang around in the court all day, just in case anything is needed. Dorkly can start his regular routine beside the throne the next afternoon. Well, this is all going to be very exciting, my dear, but I have some news that may also be exciting to you. And she looked up at him with a beaming smile. What's that, my love? The king asked. We are going to be parents. I'm giving you an heir. So that's the end of that chapter for today. And I will see you back here with Dorkly next Friday. And we'll read some more chapters. We don't have very many more to go. So I hope you're liking all of this. And I'll be anxious to see you guys all next week. Bye-bye.